So here's our notes for Unit 1B. So this is in the AP curriculum guide. This is still in Unit 1. However, we've always split this out in its own separate unit. So we'll continue to do that. Basically in this, we're going to still be exploring one variable data. When we move to Unit 2, that's when we do two variable. But now we're going to be worrying about normal distributions. I guess I could pick a pen. My pen would work. We're going to work with normal distributions and then the percentiles, proportions and percentiles from that normal distribution. So that's what we're going to be keying on. So we have to understand what a percentile rank is. The percentile rank is going to be the percentage of data that fall at or below an observation. So here we have Jenny earned a score of 86 on her test. How did she perform relative to her class? So we see that Jenny is her. Let's see here. There we go. We see Jenny down here. Her score of 86. So that means that we need to count how many we have here. So pick this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So if we're talking about the fall at, excuse me, undo that. I meant to actually undo at or below. So she is the 20s. She is the 22nd observations at or below 86 out of 25 total observations. So that means when we divide that out, she performed at the 88th percentile. Okay, and so that's where we're looking. When we move forward here, we're going to be looking at a normal curve, which we see here as far as the normal curve is kind of shown to us, and we have that bell-shaped curve that is symmetric. We'll get in more into a standardized normal curve later. I'm actually not for sure why that's there. I just never thought to take it out. Okay, in example 2, we're going to worry about a cumulative frequency table. Okay, so what we have here is the age of the, and I believe the title is goofed up because I think it's 45. I think all the presidents are there. So the 45 presidents and when they were inaugurated. Relative frequency wise, so we have 2 out of 45 equals 4.4%. That is ugly. Try that again. Okay, we'll just leave that as a 4.4%. 7 out of 45. That is going to give us a, I'm going to round these off actually. I'm going to stop doing, I'm going to round to whole numbers. So I'm going to go with 16%. And then we got 13 out of 45, which is going to give me a 29%. Okay, I think you get the picture of what that is. So we're just going to go ahead and copy down the rest of the percents in this column. So 27, 16, 7, and we're going to drop that down to 4%. Okay, so that was my relative frequency for each category. Okay, So what we need to work on is, and understand here, is we're going to work with a cumulative frequency. Okay, meaning cumulative wise, in category 1, it's still 2 out of 45. Okay, which turns into 4%. But cumulative wise, for the next category, I had 2 that were inaugurated between 40 and 44, and 7 that were inaugurated between 45 and 49. So that means that 9 presidents are in that accumulated area. And that's going to come out to be a 20%. Okay, or we could have taken these if I grab my laser pointer here, we could have taken the 16 and the 4 and added those together to get 20. Okay, likewise, we come back here, we're sitting at 9 now, we're going to add 13 into the next category, so that means we're talking about 22 out of 45. And 22 out of 45 is going to give me a 49%. And once again, if I take my tool here, if I add 4 and 16 together, that gave me the 20. If I take the 20 and I add 29 to it, that gives me the 49. So again, we can just keep accumulating these percentages. I really don't need to know the next one. So I know that I'm going to add 49 together with this 27, and we're going to come up with a 76% on the next one. And then we're going to add 16 to that, and we're going to come up with a 92%. And then we're going to add 7 to that. Whew, that seems like high. What happened there? Do I have a mistake somewhere? My problem is all of these. Uh-oh, what did I do? Didn't want to do that. All of these rounded up, and so I think I'm running out of room here. Oh, this is not a 4% down here. I drew that in there wrong. Okay, where's my eraser at? Nobody stopped me. All right, there's my eraser tool. That is just the weirdest eraser. I need to look at the settings on that. We really have 1 out of 45, and I don't have a calculator for that. So let's flip over here and go 1. Whoops, I don't want to be there. Clear, quit. 1 divided by 45 is 0.02. Okay? Yep. So we'll round that off to 1. Did I? There we go. My gosh, I'm struggling tonight. There we go. Okay. And then my cumulative relative frequency is actually going to be the same. All right, so this category, this is going to jump over here. So let's look at what we have over here. We started with between 40 and 45. I had roughly 4%. Between 40 and 50%, we jumped that up to 20. So we can see that this plot is plotting my cumulative relative frequency. Okay, so again, if we grab my laser pointer, the 50 to 54 age range, we had a grand total of 49. So here it is at 49 roughly here. So we are just plotting those points onto a relative frequency thing. Let's see, I'm going to hold down my eraser here and see if we can, there we go. It says whole, I don't know, it's acting like a partial. We'll try that, make it a little bigger. Okay. I want to erase these and erase that. There we go. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's called an ogive graph. It is graphing a relative frequency. So we have to be able to read these in 2 different ways, okay? And we'll talk about that here in a second. Let's answer these questions first. Was Barack Obama, who was inaugurated at age 47, unusually young? Okay, so we're going to come over here. 47 falls right there. If I go follow my graph, and it comes over here and falls about the 10th or 11th percentile, okay? So we're going to say, was he young? Yes. Now we have to justify our answer. falls at the 11th percentile. Okay? So that's one way to read it. The other way to have to be able to read an ogive graph is to estimate and interpret the 65th percentile. So now we're going to come up here to the 65th percentile. So I'm going to estimate where the 65th percentile is. And I'm going to say, and again, I hate that you can't see my pen. So I'm going to come over here, and this is my percentiles. And we're going to estimate where is the 65th. And I'm going to say it's right about there is the 65th percentile. So we're going to mark this in here. And now we're going to draw it over to my graph. And we met the graph. And now we're going to draw an arrow down. Okay? And I am going to call that 57. Okay? So, if I'm asked to interpret that, I'm going to say that 65% of presidents were 58 years or younger at inauguration. Okay? And that's what we have to be able to do when we see an ogive graph. Now, I want to real fast talk about, because I've seen this, it happens on a quiz and other places. I'll ask you something about, well, let's find the median presidential age. Well, where does the median fall? Well, we have to remember that the median falls exactly in the middle, or the 50th percentile. So then if I was to find that, I would come down here to here's the 50th percentile. I'm going to make my mark. Comes over here, actually it hits that mark and down. So I'm going to say the median is going to equal 55. Okay? Another thing that we might have to be able to do, we'll make that a different color yet. Green. Okay? We might be asked to find the interquartile range of our presidential ages. Okay? So again, how do we find the interquartile range? Well, that's quartile 3 minus quartile 1. So then we have to understand, well, wait a second, I don't know, where am I going to find quartile 3 on an ogive graph? Well, I have to remember if I saw that box plot, quartile 3 happens at the 75th percentile. Quartile 1 happens to be the 25th percentile. And now we can go to that ogive graph and we can find that. Okay? So we can go and find the 75th percentile. Here's 80. That means 75 is roughly in here. So we can grab my pen. Here is 75. Draw that over to there. Draw that straight down the best we can. And I'm going to say that is going to be a... actually, I'll go with 60. Quartile 1. Where's quartile 1? We talked about it. It was at the 25th percentile. So again, we come down here. We're going to, on my cumulative frequency, I'm going to find where the 25th percentile is. We're going to make a mark here, and we're going to go over to my chart, and we're going to go down, okay? I'm going to call that 51. So from my ogive graph, I can determine that the interquartile range was 9. In reality, what we could do, again, we could figure this out by hand as far as, because we know the relative, we know all of these numbers, we could find out what, and we have 45 presidents, half of 40, the 23rd is going to be my median. So wherever 20, the problem is I don't know where 23 falls. There's 2, there's 7 to make 9, there's 22. So the 23rd falls in that category, but because I'm not looking at individual pieces of data, I don't know where it falls, okay? We decided that it fell at the 55th, or it fell at age 55, because that's where it came out of my ogive graph. But I've rambled on probably longer than I needed to, so that covers page 1 of our notes.